Welcome to Sacramento Culture Club. Smart, honest takes on the food, art, and performances defining Sacramento's culture. Hello, I'm Johnny Flores, host and producer of Sacramento Culture Club. Every Thursday, we bring you honest reviews from people who live and breathe Sacramento's culture, the restaurants, live performances, and events that define the city. You'll hear real opinions and thoughtful perspectives from locals and journalists who know what makes something truly worth your time. This week, I'm joined by Becky Grunewald and Lory Gil. Let's get into it. First up is Becky Grunewald. Becky is a food and cultural writer and longtime chronicler of Sacramento's tastiest food spots. For this episode, she's heading to Franklin Blvd to visit Super Tortas Chilanga El Abuelo to see what makes this neighborhood favorite such a standout.
Franklin Blvd has been pretty torn up for months, and because one of my hobbies is worrying about how restaurants are doing business-wise, I've been worrying about the places with construction directly in front. Luckily, my worry led me to hit up Tortas Chilangas El Abuelo on 5045 Franklin Blvd for the first time in a long time. More people may know it as Tortas Chilangas, and that's what they're called on Instagram, but I've always known it as El Abuelo, so I'm sticking with that. El Abuelo is a small cafe tucked between a liquor store and a tire shop. It's open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. How nice is that to hear? Let me repeat that. It's open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Those kinds of expansive opening hours are getting rarer, so I wanted to pause to appreciate it. Another thing that's remarkable about El Abuelo, it's been open for 18 years. Outside El Abuelo, there's a mural of Mexico's city monuments and also of a torta and a michelada. El Abuelo sells a lot of micheladas. It's cute inside. It had a glow up a few years back. There are a few booths and tables, and it's decorated with Volkswagen and motorcycle models and the requisite Pedro Infante poster. El Abuelo does a brisk takeout and phone business, and you order at the counter. An average wait is 10 to 15 minutes. I'm a bit of a minimalist when it comes to sandwiches of all kinds, so I don't usually go for the giant signature sandwiches such as the Rusa or the Alemania, which come with many types of meats. I usually go for the Milanesa. In this case, it's a breaded steak cutlet, or the al pastor, which is sliced marinated pork. An al pastor torta at El Abuelo is all about balance. It's served on a soft yet crunchy plancha grilled telera from La Esperanza Bakery, and the savory flavor of the juicy, saucy al pastor, the hit of the mayonnaise, the avocado, they all come together in a savory harmony that will make you want to eat the entire dinner plate-sized torta. But it's also very splittable. For you, dear listener, I sacrificed my minimalist principles and got one of the massive tortas, in this case, the Cubana, which has Milanesa, mozzarella, hot dog, American cheese, egg, and pierna, or pork leg. When it was served, I saw a big glob of white coming my way, and I thought, oh no, too much mayo. But nope, it was all melted mozzarella. Factoring in the melted American cheese as well, which is one of the best of all cheeses, this torta had cheese pull galore. The hot dogs are served sliced lengthwise and griddled until they curl. And the egg really makes it taste like a breakfast sandwich. This torta is rich, with the smoky ham being the breakout flavor. I added extra pickled jalapenos and carrots from El Abuelo's spare salsa bar to cut the richness. El Abuelo also sells pambazos, a torta that's dunked in guajillo chili sauce and griddled, then filled with chorizo, fried potatoes, crema, and queso fresco. At El Abuelo, romaine lettuce is a nice crunchy touch. A pambazo is messy to eat as you vacillate between hand and fork and knife, neither of which is quite ideal. The best way to eat a pambazo is probably at home naked. But barring that, just use a lot of napkins, and this is a delightful sandwich. Everyone knows that Lalo's has the best barbacoa estilo Hidalgo in the area. But if you know this, you also may know that it sometimes sells out. I was at Lalo's on a recent Saturday at 1:30, and the barbacoa was gone for the day. Heartbreaking. I noted that El Abuelo proclaims that they have barbacoa on weekends, so I identified it as a possible second source. What is Hidalgo-style barbacoa, you may be asking? It's lamb barbecued in a pit, surrounded by agave leaves, The same as at Lalo's, El Abuelo offers both the meat of the lamb and an offal as an innards-based dish called pancita. Pancita can be the kidneys, livers, lungs, intestines, viscera, what have you, of the little baby lammy, mixed with herbs, spices, guajillo chilies, and then packed into the stomach and cooked in a pit surrounded by the agave leaves. It's like haggis, but good. I went to El Abuelo on a recent Saturday to check out the barbacoa around 12:30 and ordered a half pound of barbacoa and a half pound of pancita. It came out quickly and was served on a piece of foil just like at Lalo's with 8 large, thin, and pliable corn tortillas made by hand. A salsa caddy was dropped on my table with 2 salsas, a smoky one, probably chipotle, and a tomatillo one. It also had cilantro and onions that looked like it had been chopped with a surprisingly dull knife and some limes that had seen better days. I fixed up a taco, really liking the large size of the tortilla, which was almost the diameter of the entire foam plate. I won't get on my soapbox now. Okay, I will get on my soapbox. Tacos are a hand food, people. I want a taco I can pick up. I especially don't want a pile of meat on 2 stuck together tortillas that I have to separate, sometimes tearing the tortilla in the process, and then try to make 2 tacos out of that. I'm getting off my soapbox now. Anyway, nice tortilla size. I scooped on a mix of the chunks of barbacoa meat and the pancita with its oozy fattiness and chili sauce. The sweet spot on the foil was where the pancita and the barbacoa commingled. The smoky salsa quickly emerged as the favorite one for me, as I'm a lover of smoky flavors. The taste of the taco was rich and meaty with an unctuous, that's right, I said unctuous, mouth-coating gumminess to some pancita bits that I can only compare to the really melty bits of tendon you sometimes get in pho. I also ordered consomme, which is a traditional broth that accompanies Hidalgo barbacoa. It has chickpeas in it, and is cooked at the bottom of the pit so that all the lamb drippings get in there. I found the consomme at El Abuelo to be more cloudy, but less fatty than the Lalo's version, which is probably just an artifact of how much each place likes to skim off the lamb fat. El Abuelo's consomme is cloudy and salty with small, firm chickpeas. It was pleasant tasting, less rich than Lalo's, as I mentioned, but that's almost a nice palate cleanser from all the meaty flavors. I have no quibble with this barbacoa. I would order it, but I would still go to Lalo's first. In summary, for Tortas Chilangas El Abuelo, which is again on 5045 Franklin Boulevard, I love and crave the tortas, and they are a good value from a beloved longtime Franklin Boulevard restaurant. And if one person in your party wants barbacoa, or Lalo's might be too packed, it's a good option for that too.
Next up is Lory Gil, a Sacramento-based writer and musician who's been covering the local scene for years. Today, she's checking out Channel 24, the city's newest concert venue, where artists like Jack White, Tycho, and Sierra Farrell have already lit up the stage. Take it away, Lory.
In the spring of 2024, the Sacramento Bee covered the news of an empty lot at 24th and R being turned into an event space that could hold up to 2,150 people. Concert promoter Another Planet Entertainment, or APE for short, said there was a mid-sized venue gap in Sacramento that needed to be filled, and fill it they did. A year later, Channel 24 was complete and the initial lineup was announced. The first show was scheduled for April 24, 2025. Before the first show even happened, neighbors were worried about traffic control and where 2,000 people were supposed to park. What was this music monolith doing in the sleepy Newton Booth neighborhood? Who would perform here and who would attend? Is this new venue a good fit for a growing Midtown community? Okay, Channel 24, let's see what you got. I went with a friend who had managed to grab a couple of tickets for the Destroy Boys Mannequin and New Dad show before it sold out. Perfect opportunity to check the place out. We rode our bikes to Channel 24, something I highly recommend if you live within 5 miles and have a decent bike, because the Sacramento area bicycle advocates are there for certain events, and if enough bicyclists show up, they might make it a permanent offer. On a side note, in case you don't know what SABA is, it's a nonprofit organization that advocates for bike regulation and supports bike education. They also have a bike valet where you can park your bike for free. You just have to sign up via QR code and they'll watch your bike for you while you're at an event. Shout out to SABA. We had general admission tickets, standing, not seated. There is a small section of seats at the top center of the room, but those tickets are priced differently and probably sell out faster. General admission standing room tickets cover the entire floor plus 3 tiers of standing balcony space. We arrived late, so the good spots were taken, and we ended up at the highest tier platform. That high up, the crowd is sparse, and if you're lucky, you can rest against the railing. You might end up having to stand behind a couple of people like I did, but even with some obstructions, I could see everything really well. The room is big, but not arena big. It reminds me, size-wise, of the Crest Theater, but without any seats, or the Victorian-era aesthetic, of course. Because we went on a sold-out night, the floor was packed. Maybe a little too packed, actually. If you're young and full of energy, I'm sure standing shoulder to shoulder is perfectly reasonable. But for me, I need a little room to wiggle about. I'm glad we're in the balcony, above it all. And yes, even high in the sky, the sound was great. Ape clearly spent a lot of their budget to make sure every corner sounded good in a packed room. How well the system handles a mostly empty room built of concrete might be a different story. But I haven't been to a sparsely attended show there yet. I'll have to follow up on that later. Where we were standing, it got very hot. The place has great temperature control, but that high up, it felt like 5 p.m. in August in Discovery Park. It was so hot. Between bands, we moseyed up to the bar on the second floor to grab a drink, where we were told we missed the person giving away age-identifying wristbands and had to go back to the top of the staircase to get tagged. This wasn't a big deal since we only waited in line about 5 minutes, but I think I'd have been miffed if I waited in a long line only to discover that I needed a wristband first. It would have helped if there were better signage or if they were carding and wristbanded you as you walked through the front door or something. On the second floor, there's an outdoor patio for cooling off and smoking. I don't smoke anymore, but I do like a good cooling off. So we worked our way to the outdoor patio, cocktails in hand. We came face to face with signs telling us that alcohol was not allowed on the patio. To which I immediately fell into teenage rebellion mode. I said to my friend, "Who's going to even notice that we're going outside with our drinks? Let's just go." And to my extreme embarrassment, there was someone keeping an eye on rebellious concert goers and heard me say that we should sneak outside. They jokingly and politely responded, "Please don't. We know when you try to go outside with your drinks." Tail between our legs, we slunk back to a nearby indoor bench and finished our drinks. When we did finally get out to the patio, the view was lovely, spacious, and welcoming. Unlike the smoking section outside of Ace of Spades, which is a 6x12 corral where 100 people have to cram together, shoulder to shoulder, even if they just want a bit of not-so-fresh air. When the closing band took the stage, we headed back to our spots. Actually, we tried the other side of the room in a tier lower, and the sound was still great. The band mentioned multiple times that they had to play a shorter set because they were told they had to be done by 10 p.m. I'm assuming this is to reduce the chance of loud music playing late into the night. Don't want to piss off the neighbors any more than they already have. The band ended up going past the curfew with a pretty fantastic encore set, but things did wrap up in a timely manner. As my friend and I were leaving, I noticed that traffic in the area directly around the venue was a bit chaotic. There were staff members outside directing cars and doing their best to keep the chaos in check. But Channel 24 has definitely not solved the parking and traffic issue. I like the vibe at Channel 24. It's professional with just the right amount of chill. It didn't feel like the crowds were being controlled by jaded and underpaid staff. Looking at you again, Ace of Spades. But it also felt like it was a pro venue with a pro attitude. I don't like that they're cashless. It feels a bit exclusionary to only sell drinks to people who have access to bank or credit cards, but this is the world we live in now. I like that the sound quality is remarkably good for a big concrete box and that you can always get a good view of the stage. It feels intimate. I don't like that you have to buy advance tickets through Ticketmaster. They only open the box office 30 minutes before a show and only sell tickets for that specific show. I like that you can get standing room general admission floor tickets instead of having to pay big bucks to be in the front. But I also like that there are a few seats available for those who want creature comforts. And finally, I especially like that there is now an all-ages venue right in the middle of Midtown that is large enough to carry acts that might have previously skipped over our little cow town because of that mid-size venue gap. We're coming up in this world, Sacramento.
A big thank you to Becky Grunewald and Lory Gil for today's reviews. If you like what you heard, share it with a friend and subscribe so you never miss what's happening around Sacramento. Got a favorite spot or an event we should check out? Leave a message at johnny@florespodcastproductions.com. Your pick might make it into a future episode. Sacramento Culture Club is a production of Flores Podcast Productions and is produced and hosted by me, Johnny Flores. Thanks for listening, Sacramento.